So, Robin, when Jerry taught you how to solder, did he say anything about untangling cables? Alright, so, my name is Jim Lattin. I just thought I would introduce myself to you. I don't know many of you from Robin's more. I am Teddy. Now we'll go into a story about that later, right? If we have time for that. Robin and I go back to the fall of 1978 when we met when I was attending graduate school at MIT. Robin had some sweet deal in Ashdown House, the graduate student dorm, and we ended up being roommates together. And that began our 29-year-long voyage together. So I'm one of the old timers here. Now I have a long enough history that I could probably sit back and tell you some very interesting stories about Robin. I can tell you some funny recollections and so on, but that's not my intent here tonight. I wanted to sort of take things in a different direction. Because a 50th birthday is really a very significant rite of passage. It's a time when somebody, having gone through 50 years, you want to hear something. You want that person to share something of her wisdom with the rest of us. I think this is a time when somebody could step back and tell us something, and we could sit back and listen and really appreciate what Robin has to say. You know the kind of thing I'm thinking about? About 10 years ago, Baz Luhrmann did one of these graduation speeches, and he called it, what was it called? Everyone's free to use sunscreen. And he imparted his wisdom to that graduating class, and I had the same sort of thing in mind for Robin. Wouldn't it be great if we could sit back and listen to Robin and impart some of her wisdom for us? Now the problem with all of this is that Robin has been incredibly busy. Putting this party together, which is phenomenal, by the way. Totally putting a video together, which means going through your entire lifelong archives of media and doing all this. So Robin just didn't have the time, I think, to reflect. But I thought, I've known Robin for 29 years. I could write this speech. And I know pretty much what I think Robin would say. I'll write it, and then we'll have Robin deliver it. What do you think? You want to hear from Robin? So what I want you to do, alright?
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking.
So can you do this with the mic? Do you want me to hold the mic for you or something? And you, see, this is the first time Robin's seen the speech. So I want her to...
Well, I am a graduate of the Academy of Radio Broadcasting.
Good. This is your chance to sell it too, Robin, to really help us out. So let me just hand this over, and I think that we will all just step back and listen to the wisdom of Robin Williams.
All right, thank you. Son of Easter, my friends.
Son of Easter.
Son of Easter.
Thank you. We'll do one more time.
What does that mean?
Later.
When we tell you the Teddy story, we'll do that.
Son of Easter, my friends.
Son of Easter.
I can stop right now. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proven by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering, slightly bizarre, and utterly idiosyncratic experience. I will dispense advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they have faded. But when you are as old as I am, you'll look back at photos of yourself taken 30 years earlier and think, who the hell is that dude? Nowadays, if I want to look fabulous in a photo, I have to have my photo taken standing next to an 80-year-old Mort Saul. You are not as fat as you imagine. But it does help to have a sense of humor when looking at yourself wearing a dress for the first time. Don't worry about the future. Believe it or not, it turns out that my personal forecast of how my life would turn out was just a wee bit off. And I'm still here to tell the tale. Do one thing every day that scares you. For example, try locking yourself out of your own apartment wearing pantyhose for the first time. I do not recommend doing this every day. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. But if you want to mess with your friends by showing up in nail polish, a chia pet hairdo, and a three-piece suit, you will be forgiven. Show up, pay attention, tell the truth. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. Judged by this criterion, I am the most interesting 50-year-old on the planet. Be kind to your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone. In my experience, the same cannot necessarily be said for certain other appendages. Ow, 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 ow. Maybe you'll marry, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have children, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll change your name to Robin and try living as a woman for a while. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll go back to living as a man and refer to yourself as a recovering transsexual. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll decide you had it right the first time and go back to living as a woman and be glad that you didn't go through all the trouble of changing your name back to Richard. Yeah. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll end up with a master's degree in city planning. Oh, like that would ever happen. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much or berate yourself either. But be sure to keep track of everything you do so that you can use it in a comedy bit if you ever decide to try stand-up. Enjoy your body. Use it every way you can. Nobody has ever come closer to being the living embodiment of this advice than I have. Do not read beauty magazines. They will only leave you with less money to spend on consumer electronics. Get to know your parents. You'll never know when they'll be gone for good. Also, they're the source of material you'll have to fall back on when that guest you have lined up for your radio show flakes out at the last minute. Even stuff from your bar mitzvah will work out in the pinch. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past. But being nice does not mean that you have to live too close to them. Who needs that kind of aggravation? And every now and then, toss a bone to some old, out-of-work stand-up comedian. Who knew it could pay such dividends? Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. If you ever live in central New York State, leave before it completely fucks you up. And if you're fortunate enough to end up in Northern California, don't even think about returning to the real world. Don't expect anyone else to support you. After all, not everyone can luck into a lifelong consulting gig with Apple. Don't be attached to the outcome. Understand that friends come and go, but the ones who accept you and love you throughout all of life's strange twists and turns are the ones worth holding on to. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Namaste. And trust me on the sunscreen.